Let's Play of Quest for Glory 4. My name is Anna Mardall, and the game has messed with our volume again. Here we go. Hello! In our last video, in our first video of this game, we teleported through means that we're not yet aware of why or how. We teleported into a cave, which seemed strangely and disturbingly organic. There were bones everywhere, and in the background there was a sound that maybe almost seemed like a heartbeat, a very slow heartbeat. But we got out of that cave, and we found ourselves in the middle of a very swampy, unpleasant area. And we met a young woman who told us to go to town where we'd be safe. So we traveled north to town, and we saw what looks like it was a mound with a wizard staff in it and flowers, kind of like the flowers in Irana's piece from the first game. And then we got to meet the Burgomeister, who's kind of like the sheriff of this little town. And now we're here. We haven't met the girl that directed us to town, Katrina. We haven't met her yet, but it is a big town, and we haven't met everyone yet as we go along. So today we're gonna start, because the Burgomeister's office was here. We're gonna go into the general shop.
From the sign reading Burgomeister.
Wrong one.
The sign reads General Store. You wonder how much of a commission the salespeople get. This is the major entrance of the general store. Colonel, you tell? The private quarters are in the Burgomeister's office.
So before we start, I need to kind of drape a content note over this. The general store is a place where we can get information about rumors and local stuff. And the woman who runs the general store brings up a term which is a slur. It's an ethnic slur. Specifically, I do not like to say it, but I'm going to have to say it to talk about this. Specifically, she uses the word gypsy. And that word will be used in this game. There is a camp of traveling people who I believe are meant to be Romani people. And it's called the Gypsy Camp. And people talk about them as gypsies. So that is an ethnic slur, a racial slur. It's not a word that is appropriate for someone like me to use, because I'm a white person with no Romani heritage whatsoever. It is a term which some Romani people choose to reclaim for themselves, but a slur reclamation is very complicated and usually requires that the person doing the reclamation have some kind of legitimate claim on that term. Is it not like, it just drove me nuts, for instance, when I would watch like Tiny House Hunters on Amazon or Netflix or whatever a couple years ago, and there's the one girl from California who's all like, I'm quirky, but she keeps calling herself a gypsy soul, and it's like, okay, we don't get to do that. If you're not Romani, you don't get to use that word. It's not like a fun, pretty word that doesn't mean anything. It's a slur that has been used to justify horrible, terrible, awful, unconscionable behavior against people who were deemed the wrong ethnicity and the wrong heritage. So it's not a fun, cutesy word we all get to use now. So that word appears in this game, and so draping kind of a content note over all that. Did Sierra know that it was a slur when they wrote this game, 20 years ago or whatever? I don't know. I don't care. It's not about the intent and whether everybody was doing it out of a pure intent or not. It's still harmful, and it's still something that I'm going to warn for in the videos because it does carry the capacity to harm people. So I wanted to give people a warning before we dove into that, because otherwise it can kind of come out of the blue and be like, whoa. So yeah. And I honestly, I do not want to argue about this in the comments. If somebody starts going, oh, but I use the word to mean carefree or whatever, I'm just going to delete those. And I don't like deleting comments, so please don't make me do that. But like, this is not something that we're gonna have a big debate on. But I like the word even though I'm white, and I don't mean it in a mean way. I just mean it to mean, like, that's not. You can look it up. You can go read from Romani people how the word has been used to hurt them. A lot of the even the quote unquote good stereotypes about Romani people, about them being wanderlusty and traveling and living free or whatever, all those things come from a heritage of being forced out of places and driven out of their homes. So it's not a fun little wanderlust thing. It's being forced to not be allowed into an area, and so it's not romantic. You can be wanderlusty without using an ethnic slur that doesn't apply to you. Use wanderlust. Wanderlust is fine. There's nothing wrong with wanderlust. But don't go around calling yourself a gypsy soul or whatever just because you like to travel. That's not cool. And I'm, like I said, we're not going to have that debate in the comments because I don't want to host something like that and hurt people. So please don't do that. Please don't do that. Because I'm just going to delete them, and I don't like doing that. So, all right. Now let's play the game. So we're going to go into the general store. And it looks very cozy.
This general store is cheery and well lit, thanks to the warm hearth. The first things that you notice are the cats. They seem to be everywhere. Then you see the shopkeeper, sitting on her rocking chair as she knits. She's a very, sturdy-looking woman.
So this is basically my house.
You're the stranger in town. I've heard all about you already.
She's got, let's see, one...
This used to be a knitting basket, but now seems to have become a cat basket. Amazing how that tends to happen. The cozy cat conveys a calmness most common in comfortable confine. The cozy cat. This is a store counter. It's covered with more cats than merchandise. The cozy cat.
Okay, so she's got 5 cats. I don't think this is a cat. I think that's supposed to be firewood.
The fire helps keep the shop and the cats warm on these cold autumn evenings.
So she basically has the exact same number of cats I do. Did I tell you how I ended up with 5 cats? I'm not sure I did. So I had 2 cats. And then when my husband left, I got 2 more. Those were my divorced kittens. Because I knew my 2 cats were elderly and their kidneys were not doing so great. And sure enough, one of them did die very recently. And I was very sad. And he was my sweet. He was a tuxedo. He was my cuddler. He was always on my desk or in my lap. And so I was feeling the loss really intensely. And I thought, I think the best way I can honor him is to... I did a good job taking care of 4 cats. I think that was something I have a talent for. Maybe the best thing I can do is to get another cat and give them a good life and a good home kind of in his name. So I looked up tuxedo kittens in my area, and I found one that honestly looked just like him and was described as a cuddler, which is what I was needing. I needed someone to cuddle and love on. And so he seemed perfect. So I made an appointment to go see him, and he crawled right up in my lap and started trying to nurse on my fingers. It was just a sweet little love bunny. And I'm talking to his foster mother, and I say, so tell me a little bit about him. What do you know? And they said, well, we don't know very much. We never did find the mom. He was left in an attic by the mom cat, and we found him with his little sister. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Because there had been no mention of a sister up to this point. They said, oh yeah, that's her over there. I look over and see this little goblin-looking cat that looks like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. She looked so much like Gollum that even my mom, who saw Lord of the Rings once and hated it, she was like, does she remind you of that little goblin monster from the movie with the ring? And I was like, yes, she does, actually. Good memory, Mom. And the reason she looks like that, I've got pictures of her up on my divorced kittens Twitter. People say that she looks like an Abyssinian cat, and they grow up to be really lean, sleek, beautiful supermodel cats, but when they're little, they look like little misshapen goblins. So I guess it's very much what's the story? The ugly duckling where you turn into a swan kind of thing. So I said, are you not trying to place them together? Because I'm used to rescues trying to place kittens together whenever possible when they've bonded, especially when they're litter mates. And he said, well, we're having a really hard time placing her because she was sick for a little while and it left her kind of feral and afraid of humans, and so she's never going to be a lap cat, she's never going to be a lovey-dovey cat, so we're having a really hard time finding people who are interested in her, so we're trying to place her brother because he's cuddly, so we know we can get him a home. And I'm like, oh crap, because I couldn't separate them, and I couldn't leave them with this shelter trying to separate them, and nobody would want a feral cat that doesn't want to be a lab cat, or if they did, they might try to hurt her and force her to be a lab cat. And I'm like, I've got plenty of cats at home. I don't need her to conform to loving me. She can just do her own thing, and I can leave her alone, and she can be with her brother. So I'm like, all right, I'll take them both, because there's no way I could separate them. So I take these 2 cats home. So now I have 5 cats. Well, the funny twist to this is she has not left my side almost since I brought her home. She's been in my lap, she's been on my chest, she's always purring and loving on me, and I'm like, they told me you was feral and scared of humans. What happened, baby girl? Because she is just like decided that I'm her human. So I don't know why that is, but obviously it's a nice happy twist that she's happy, so I'm happy for her. So but that is how I have 5 cats. Wow, sorry, that went long. I ramble. So let's look around this pretty homey shop that looks a lot like my house, to be honest. Got the laminate floors and the fireplace, so.
The window looks out on the street and provides some extra sunlight in which the cats can bask. The vines give the room a nice organic feel and a little extra fresh air. Either garlic is one of the most popular products here, or the shopkeeper ordered way too much and hasn't been able to get rid of it. A set of plates sits on the high shelf out of the cat's reach. Doesn't every mantel have a candelabra? It's an ornamental dinner plate. It looks like an ancient temple that the shopkeeper has put up on the mantel as a good luck symbol. The shopkeeper does a good business in clocks. Apparently the villagers like to be able to tell when night is approaching. The huge brown pot is probably used to store bulk merchandise, or maybe homemade brownies. This pot is looking a bit blue. Maybe that's because it hasn't been sold yet. The large ewers are just right for carrying water.
So, a couple of things to notice here. One is that her shop is covered in braids of garlic. Those are those white stranded things. That's garlic braids. And apparently she sells a lot of clocks for people who want to know when night is approaching.
Yeah, polite, aren't you? And manners are as manners do, as my husband used to say. We'll see. You can call me Olga. Mrs. Stovich is too formal after all. We don't welcome strangers here. They bring nothing but trouble. All the same, it's good to see a new face again.
Okay, so let's talk to Olga.
Yeah, my husband and myself had run this shop for many, many years. My husband passed on now, but I keep it just the way he liked it. A well-run shop is a busy shop, he always used to say. Not very busy anymore, what with the swamp. But I try to keep it going the best I can. Mostly housewares, but a few items that might interest you. Let me see, what could you use? Well, besides my regular items like brooms and pens, I really don't have anything else for adventurers like yourself. Now, I do have some lovely sandwiches you can use for rations. And garlic, of course you'll need garlic. I've also got some oil you can use to keep the weapons and armor from rusting. And if you like sweets, I've got some yummy homemade candy. Although the garlic-flavored ones have all been purchased by now. I'll have to make some more. Oh, and a shopping bag to carry things in. I have a couple of those left. 3 twists of candy will cost you just 5 kopecks. The kids love them. Oh, now garlic is a must-have item. It's just 25 kopecks for a bulb, and it will add flavor to any food.
Storekeeper looks around nervously for a moment, then continues.
You know, some say garlic also has medicinal and protective properties. My husband always said I make the most interesting sandwiches. They're very good for you, and I only charge 50 kopecks each for them. The shopping bag costs 50 kopecks. It is very useful for carrying your purchases or other large things. A flask of household oil will cost you 100 kopecks. It's good for door squeaks and can also be used to loosen up rusty wagon wheels. I can sell you a very nice large pie pan for 250 kopecks. I've always admired the men who can cook. You can purchase the hen broom for 350 kopecks. I'm sure you'll really clean up with it.
So I actually like this because it makes sense that this little shop in this little town that has been isolated from the outside world because of environmental reasons would not have chainmail or knives or daggers or swords, or why would she have that? In Spielberg, it made a little bit of sense because when the town wasn't being closed off from the outside world from the winter snows from in the mountain pass, normally most parts of the year, the town was implied to be kind of a place that travelers would travel through. So, and it was a dangerous area. There was bandits and everything, and plus, of course, all the Baron's men needed to stay equipped, and so it makes sense that they would sell chainmail and swords and daggers and stuff to travelers because the roads are dangerous. It makes sense that you would sell that stuff to young men wanting to join the Baron's guard, stuff like that. It made sense, obviously, for Shapir and Tarna to have weapons and armor because those places were trade centers of their area. They were kind of the place to go for trade goods. Mordavia, this little town, this is not the place to go for trade goods. This is a little residential area, and yes, outside the town is dangerous, but they're coping with that by staying in the town and closing their gates at night, not by going out and swinging swords at people and things. So I like that this store doesn't have adventure gear to buy. We've got 22 crowns and 68 kopecks, and nearly everything is kopecks, not crowns, so we should be able to buy plenty. We do need rations because... Oh, we have to buy them individually. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The game helpfully informed us that we were getting hungry. We'll go ahead and get a shopping bag. Why not? Go ahead and get a clove of garlic. Let's get 2 cloves of garlic. Get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candies. An oil flask. And we don't really need a hand broom or a pie pan right now, but let's just go ahead and buy a pie pan. You never know. So we've asked about everything else except rumors. Let's talk about rumors.
What would you like to know about?
So she's got Innkeeper's wife, castle, werewolves, and monastery. Let's talk about the Innkeeper's wife.
Yeah, Bella's a good woman. She's the one who really runs the inn. Her husband just gives orders. Someday she'll give Yuri a piece of her mind, and good for her. The things she puts up with. Bella, she was a pretty woman not long ago. Was not called Bella for nothing. Losing her only child really aged her. What a tragedy.
That's sad. That's very sad. Okay.
The castle north of town was abandoned for many years. Then some strangers moved in 4 years ago. No one knows what goes on there now. But it won't be for the good, I'll tell you.
Interesting. Oh, wrong one. Okay, here we go. Let's ask about werewolves.
Werewolves are gypsies, no question about it. They change into wolves at night, eating anyone they can get. Nothing can kill a werewolf but silver or magic. So you be careful out in the woods at night, you hear me? The gypsy camp is not at all that far from here.
Okay. So... So that happened, and I'm not sure how to comment on it just yet, so just put that in your back pocket, I guess.
That is a bad place, and you'd better have nothing to do with it. It is dangerous, and should have been torn down long ago. Many a stranger never came back after asking questions about it, so don't let your curiosity be the death of you.
Okay, we don't know what the monastery is, but apparently we should avoid it. So, I think that's all for now, and we will say goodbye.
You be careful. We don't need you going around stirring up trouble, after all. Got enough as it is. If you do find something interesting, you let me know, of course, won't you?
Okay. We'll do what we can.
Goodbye. Or, as my dear departed Boris used to say, may the winds blow fair at your back.
Alright, so let's save our game. And next down the street...
The sign simply reads, Inn. Guess that means you should go in.
is the inn.
You've entered a small but nicely furnished country inn. Stairs lead up to the guest bedrooms. The floor is covered with sawdust and peanut shells. A barrel contains the few shells that manage to land in it. The innkeeper stares at you with an expression of fear and astonishment. It is several seconds before he speaks.
This is the Hotel Mordavia. Rooms here are 15 kopecks for room and board. Pay for 1 week in advance. Your room will be the first room at the top of the stairs. When you want food in the morning or evening, just sit down over there by the door.
Pay the innkeeper for your room and board.
Thank you for your payment.
We do need some food to eat. Are they still serving? Can we sit down and get a meal? All right.
It's a garlic souffle, Moldavian style.
That sounds interesting.
That...
Okay, I don't think we need to actually eat it. We eat automatically.
They stare at you in astonishment.
We'll introduce ourselves.
You say you are a hero. Well, we will judge you here by your actions rather than your words.
That's fair enough. And we'll tell how we got here.
Magic is a very dangerous thing. We do not trust those who use or are used by magic. Make certain you do not give us any more cause for alarm.
Okay.
The Hotel Mordavia has been in my family for generations. It is the only place to be when darkness falls at night. Everything else is closed, and even we lock the doors. You must knock if you wish to come in. My name is Yuri Markarov. My wife's name is Bella. We are the owners of this inn. If you climb the stairs, your room is the first door on the right. The doors of the inn close before nightfall, so make sure you are always back before sunset. Make certain you are back in town before dusk. The gates of the town will close solidly to keep out any dangers.
And that opened up some new things to ask about.
The Burgomeister is the mayor of the town. You will be wise to listen to what he says and stay out of trouble. There is not much for sale at the shop next door, but you may find something you need there. The monastery is to the north of here. It has been abandoned for many, many years, but it has a bad reputation. No one in town will go near it, and if you have any sense, neither will you.
Well, that explains what Olga was talking about.
There are many ill things that roam this valley by night. Make certain that you never have to meet them. Never venture into the forest by night.
Okay. Well, let's go talk to this motley crew over here.
I am Hans. Pleasure's all yours. I'm a farmer of pumpkins and corn and a person of great importance here in lovely Mordavia.
Listen, I'm telling you, Igor's death must be avenged.
I'm Franz. I'm a wealthy
Pleased
garlic
to meet
grower.
you. I'm Ivan, an elephant herder. Unfortunately, there are no more elephants in Mordavia, so business has kind of fallen off a tad.
So, first of all, the dialogue assignment on Franz was wrong, which is why I read that one for him. But these three are interesting because they ad-lib their lines a lot, and sometimes to funny effect. So what you're reading on the screen is not what they're saying, and I'm not going to be able to read off what they read without talking over them. So we'll just have to roll with it.
Guys, is it just me or is Mordavia a wonderful place?
Oh, are you kidding? It's the greatest. There's many places to go, things to see. Are you kidding?
Right. Let's not forget that scenic cemetery to the east of town.
Everyone here's nothing but grins. Real friendly.
Yeah, except we don't know you. We don't like strangers.
or anyone else that's weird and doesn't belong.
Rumors? You talking to me? What rumors?
Oh, there are no rumors here.
Unless you count the rumor that the castle is owned by...
Horse patootie. There are no rumors in Mordavia to speak of. The town of Mordavia's a quiet place.
Filled with friendly, joyful, stinky people.
Well, I'm not so sure about the friendly part. We tend to be very suspicious of strangers like you.
Yeah, well, anyway, the town is filled with joyful and stinky people.
Yeah, happy, joyful, and stinky people.
Well, I wouldn't call us particularly joyful. As a matter of fact, most of us are pretty glum.
Oh, very well, all right, then Mordavia is filled with people, you know, stinky ones.
Yeah, many stinky people.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it many. There actually aren't very many of us around here.
Oh, forget it. Well, at least he stinks.
So that's all we have right now. I don't know that you get different...
They stare.
You...
Okay, so we don't get any kind of different...
The first door at the top of the stairs leads to your room. My wife will serve you supper in the evening.
I don't think we can go into the kitchen.
The barrel serves as a repository for peanut shells, even though relatively few elephants stay at the inn these days. Ornamental plates seem to be the fashionable decoration in country inns from here to Spielberg. A warm fire blazes in the hearth. This giant wild boar's head is a trophy of the Burgomeister's last boar hunt. That must have been one impressive boar. The chandeliers lent an aura of faded decadence, not to mention some light, on the Hotel Mordavia. 3 of the townsmen huddle together. They keep looking in your direction as they talk. You suspect that they are saying something not particularly complimentary about you. The innkeeper looks rather grim. Life in Mordavia has obviously not been kind to him. Braids of garlic festoon the walls, lending their pungent aroma to the room. Judging from the menu here, the innkeepers are trying to use it all up as quickly as possible. This is the door to one of the guest rooms. The railing serves an important purpose in keeping the inn's best customers from falling off the stairs.
So, this is apparently our room.
You unlock the door to your room and go in.
It's a nice room.
It's a braided circular rug, apparently mass-produced. The window opens out onto the back of the inn. A narrow ledge runs under it on the outside. This large chest is a good place to store equipment you don't need to carry around with you. The bed is adequate, but nothing to take home with you. Assuming, that is, that you leave in one piece and with your throat intact. Not necessarily a good assumption.
I think I missed something.
The candle provides a supplementary light source to economize on lamp oil. The bed is adequate, but nothing to take home with you. After you leave, they'll probably put a plaque on it reading something like, "Hero slept here." Assuming, that is, that you leave in one piece and with your throat intact. Not necessarily a good assumption.
Oh.
Garlic braids festoon the room, adding that certain special ambiance of Gilroy in the spring to the room. You don't need that much garlic. Besides, it lends a certain air to the room, don't you think? The townspeople have a poor opinion of people whom they see climbing out of windows and over roofs.
Fair enough. So I don't think there's anything to do here now, unless we want to nap. Which I guess we could do for an hour.
After some rest, you feel better.
That's nice. It is almost noon. I do like how we have health, stamina, and mana up here, so you can instantly see how much you have of any of them. The townspeople have gone for right now.
The back table is...
Makes sense. They probably only show up at night.
The room is totally empty.
What about these other two rooms?
There is no response. Whoever or whatever is renting this room must not be there right now.
Okay.
This door...
So,
Nobody on... As you start to open the door, you realize that this is the Innkeepers' room.
okay. So we will leave for now. Bye. And that takes care of everything on this side of the street. It's still day one. It's almost noon. We're about 36 minutes into a video. Got some time. Let's go try over here.
The ancient oak has donned its fall cloak, anticipating the winter chill soon to come.
That was lovely.
The archway leads to the northern section of town. You don't notice anything special there? This doorway leads to a private residence. You can't make out what's behind the window from here. The old man walks with a slumped back and a sad, dejected look in his eyes. He seems to be searching for something that he hasn't been able to find.
Well, and then you have this building.
The sign reads, Dr. Cranium. You wonder what sort of medicine he practices. The rope is attached to a series of bells hanging under the overhang. Or was that over the underhang? Or maybe around the... No, never mind. The door lintel looks almost like a moustache. The windows stare back at you like eyes in the living wall. Well, they don't really. It's just a simile, you know.
Let's go talk to this nice man over here.
I am Nikolai. Have you seen my honor? Honor. Have you seen my honor? I am looking for honor. Have you seen honor?
Well, no, I haven't.
You greet the old man.
Good day. Have you seen my honor?
You tell the old man goodbye.
If you see honor, tell her I am looking for her.
Well, let's try this building that looks like a face, and apparently there's a puzzle. Okay. We got 6 points for that. That's why we just heard the little dun-da-da-dun. So this looks different.
You are in a totally weird place. This hallway gives you a strange feeling of Vujade. The sense that you've never been anywhere like here before, but maybe will someday.
Okay, that's a new one on me.
The bust's eyes seem to follow you as you walk through the hallway. It reminds you of a porthole minus the glass cover. So it's definitely not a glass of port.
Thank you.
There's a sign on the door. It says, "Warning, do not open without appropriate precautions." It reminds you of a... The sign on the door says, "Dr. Cranium's private laboratory. Entrance by prior appointment or demonstration of superior intelligence only." It's a truly impressive, original, multimedia work created out of whitewash and sawdust. The sign says, "This is the key maze." This strange device is labeled Transcendental Receiving Animal Processor. I wonder if that stands for something. Be careful, it might be a trap. The sign... There is no response to your knock. You don't hear anything behind this door. Behind the door is a sort of rat maze, but it's missing the rat.
Okay, so can we just go through here?
You faintly hear a voice saying, "Don't knock! Come on in!" from beyond the door. You hear mysterious bubbling and sizzling noises. Every once in a while you think you hear someone muttering to himself.
Don't know what that is just yet.
That looks like a likely... But you don't find anything.
So that looks like a likely place for a spare key. Alright.
How interesting. It sounded as though someone knocked on the other side of the door as well, several times. You hear something bouncing around behind the door. A lot of somethings.
Well, let's try it. What could go wrong? Oops.
Oh no, you've been Antwerped. Fortunately, these are just baby Antwerps, so the attack wasn't fatal.
Well, that's good. Alright, let's play with this trap. You can analyze the creature you wish to capture, then apply the proper bait. If the animal is in the immediate vicinity, the trap will catch it for you. If the animal is not in the area, you'll have to catch it yourself, but at least you'll know what to feed it. Is it alive? No. You need a shovel, not a trap. Alright. Is it alive? Yes. Is it fast? Yes. Is it vicious? No. Is it silly? Yes. No, I'm not trying to catch a flying aardvark. Or a chocolate mousse. Yes. You surely don't mean a full-size adult Antwerp, do you? No. Bouncing baby Antwerps are avid avocado eaters. And apparently we got 2 points for identifying Antwerp. Our rations are avocado and garlic sandwiches. They're the strangest adventuring meals you've ever encountered. Still, they do last a long time and will keep you from starving to death. Of course, you may wish you'd starve to death if you have to eat them too often.
You bait the trap with avocado from your sandwich. Avocado was never high on your list of favorite foods anyway.
Yay!
The trap starts working. You've caught an Antwerp. It's simply amazing.
Awesome!
You've...
So now we can use the Antwerp in this key maze.
This is the Antwerp maze. Antwerps are naturally bouncy, so all you have to do is continually rotate the maze until the baby Antwerp bounces over to the key, then out through the exit.
Okay. So this is easier if you turn the speed down.
Time the maze rotation.
So we're gonna do that because otherwise it's a pain in the rear.
This is the...
This is not my favorite part of the game. Okay. I'm not timing it well. Doop. All right, there we go. Shoot. Crap. I'm not doing it well. I should have turned the game down even slower. Okay, one there.
Congratulations.
Ah,
You've used the baby Antwerp to get Dr. Cranium's laboratory key from the maze. You add the key to your keyring.
yay. Okay, that was fun, wasn't it? Such fun. So much fun. Now we have to do one more. We have to make this look like a keyhole. I've never liked sliding block puzzles, and this one is no exception. Let me see. Oh, this guy. Oh, they're not actually sliding. They'll actually teleport. That's kind of cool. I did not know that that was an option, to be honest. This doesn't look right. All right, what am I doing wrong? So this part looks right. Oh, there we go. Whew.
Great! You've managed to find Dr. Cranium's keyhole and open the door. You pass through into Dr. Cranium's private laboratory.
So we got 6 points for solving the Antwerp maze and 6 for opening this door.
Quickly, Igor, the fluid. I must have the fluid. Oh, excuse me. I thought it was Igor coming in to assist me. He helps out in the lab sometimes. Now then, what can I do for you?
Let's save our game so that we never have to do that again.
You say hello to the scientist.
Welcome to my laboratory. You must have more than the usual intelligence and perseverance to have made it in here.
You introduce yourself to Dr. Cranium and tell him a little about your adventures.
I should be most interested to hear about your travels and your scientific discoveries along the way. Unfortunately, I have very little time for that right now. Perhaps we can discuss your adventures when you next return.
You explain to Dr. Cranium that magic is really a lot like science and even deals with the same elements.
Oh, nonsense! There's no such thing as magic. There is only science. What you call magic is simply scientific phenomena that have not yet been properly investigated and catalogued.
Okay. So let's look around here first.
Dr. Cranium looks considerably more like a demented wizard or mad scientist than a real scientist. Despite his white hair, you suspect that he's no more than middle-aged. He also seems to have developed a significant paunch. Root beer belly, no doubt. Dr. Cranium has an orderly personality, so he likes to arrange things in tables. You are in an incredibly cluttered laboratory. Flasks, vials, jars, and tubing cover every surface. Experiments are in progress everywhere. Glass globes of unknown intent hang in nets from the ceiling.
All right. So let's talk to him.
My name is Dr. Cranium. I am Moldavia's chief scientist and a certified genius. Some call me mad, but I much prefer Dr. Cranium. Ah, yes, science. I'm glad you asked. Science is the process of systematically increasing our knowledge of the world through observation and experiment. Unfortunately, some of the townspeople here seem to have no concept of the wonders of science. Some of them even claim my little inventions are magical. Such poppycock. There's no such thing as magic. Still, the townspeople insisted that I should be able to use my magic to cure wounds and sickness. I told them that I am a scientist, not a doctor, but they wouldn't listen. I had little choice but to concoct some simple elixirs. They were childishly pleased. Science is really so simple once you understand it.
Okay.
If you want to improve your stamina, then you should make sure you eat a healthy diet from all the different food groups and get plenty of aerobic exercise. That is science. Oh, you must mean my patented healing drink. You may have my last one. Unfortunately, I have forgotten the formula for its main ingredient. If you can help me remember it, I will be able to make some more healing drinks, although the work is very time-consuming.
Okay, this is a copy protection. So you need the copy protection in the manual. Mexicalish is fire, earth, pizza, fire, pizza.
Thank you. With that information, I'm sure I shall be able to create some sensational scientific solutions. Oh, you must mean my new universal poison antidote. You may have this one, but I will need some help with the formula to make more. Also, I am afraid I only have time to make one each day.
Hint line is earth, air, pizza, air, earth.
Thank you. With that information, I'm sure I shall be able to create some sensational scientific solutions.
You ask Dr. Cranium if he can spare an empty flask for specimen collection.
Of course, of course. I am always delighted to assist scientific research of any kind, and I have plenty of flasks. You may have this one.
Thank you.
Experiments are the meat and drink of science. First, you must come up with a hypothesis based on your understanding of the scientific elements. Then perform an experiment to test the hypothesis. Afterwards, you have a pizza. Earth is for solidity and stability. Air gives freedom and movement. Fire provides power and energy. Water, fluidity, and life. Pizza, of course, is the most important element of all. Pizza represents the essence of well-roundedness and regaining strength. Most importantly, you can have it delivered in under half an hour in most areas. A hypothesis is a scientific guess. One predicts the result of an operation, performs an experiment to test the prediction, then has a pizza to celebrate the result. It is very important to stay flexible, however. Sometimes the experiment may give a different result than predicted by the hypothesis. Since real scientists don't like to make mistakes, we always write the hypothesis in pencil. Pizza is a crucial ingredient in many scientific formulae. There is a nearly infinite variation in its effects, depending on whether one starts with pepperoni, mushrooms, artichokes, or plain cheese. One should always order extra pizza in case the experiment requires additional materials. Besides, science is hungry work.
Okay.
There is, of course, no such thing as magic. There is only science. Still, you would be amazed at how gullible some people are. Just the other day, someone gave me this scroll saying it was a magical spell. Can you believe that? It is purest poppycock. Nothing on here makes any sense whatsoever. Here,
Can I have
you may
it?
have this as a reminder that magic is a figment of fevered imagination.
Thank you.
Only science is real.
Obviously, Dr. Cranium needs to take a correspondence course from the famous wizard school. As you read the scroll, you find that you have learned the incantations and gestures with which to cast a glide spell. Then the scroll vanishes.
Nice.
There, you see, it was not even a very good piece of parchment. Fell right apart. Igor is the gravedigger and tombstone carver. Business has been slow lately, perhaps because there are very few people left in town. So Igor sometimes comes in to help me with my work. Igor has had less work of late. The forest is just as dangerous, but there aren't very many people left in town who are stupid enough to go out there at night, you know. I like to think of it as a sort of evolution in action.
Okay.
Igor is carving out quite a niche for himself in the gravestone business. You might say he is well on his way to becoming a rock star. Then again, you might not. The cemetery is outside of town to the east. It has proven a fruitful source of materials for my experiments. There are also some interesting and cryptic puzzles to be solved there.
Okay.
Essential etheric fluid is an important ingredient in my formula for reanimating dead bodies. It contains the essence of the element of water, the most important ingredient in life science. This laboratory is where I perform some of my most important research. Lately, I have been trying to bring life back to a dead body and to brew the perfect cup of tea. Reanimating the dead is just another day's work in the life of a scientist. Even science cannot bring a person back right the way they were, but one can use scientific principles to restore the semblance of life and energy to formerly dead flesh. The one alchemical combination that I have thus far been unable to fully analyze is that of a good cup of tea. I'm sure there must be a way to duplicate the effects of nature, but the results have not been promising so far. Perhaps you would like a cup of spearmint and beefsteak tea? I thought not. This is even harder than rehydration solution and reviving dead tissue. Research is the heart and soul of science. Without constant experimentation to prove or disprove one's hypotheses, the scientist is left trying to solve the world's problems by guesswork. That is hardly the most efficient way to achieve results. I try to maintain a modest selection of useful experimental equipment in my simple laboratory. Unfortunately, it has become very difficult to obtain the most modern scientific accessories since the road out of the valley became closed by the swamp. Mad? Mad? They all call me mad, but what do they know of madness? I am not mad. A bit perturbed about the world situation and how I get so little respect, perhaps, but certainly not mad.
Okay. Well, that was a lot of information. We also received a poison cure potion, which is red, a healing potion, which is yellow, and an empty flask. We also can go back to him every time we need, once a day, to get a new poison cure and a new healing potion. So we can't just buy them in bulk like we could in previous games. It's one a day for each of them. Save them up, kind of thing. So we're gonna say
You
goodbye.
say good.
Please be careful not to break the beakers or crack the flasks on your way out.
Can do.
Come back and visit again. Oh, and if you see Igor, please tell him I still need the fluid.
I'll mention it. So that was an hour. I did promise myself that I'd try to keep these to an hour. And I think I said that the town will take some time to explore because it's a little bigger than Spielberg was, and more people to talk to, I think, and definitely the talking to people takes longer because we're letting them do the voice acting, which in my opinion is very good. But obviously they read at their own pace as opposed to my rapid fire. So when we pick up in the next video, we'll head back this way and see where it takes us. My name is Anna Mardall. I will see you in the next Let's Play, and thank you so much for coming along on these. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.